do enjoy cooking food a lot. When we first bought this place, the kitchen was just this tiny thing that two people would just bump with each other, and it was hard to cook. So when we did a remodel, what we did is make the kitchen big enough so the whole family could be here. In general, I love food. So there's a lot of things that I enjoy, but I would have to say some of my favorite foods are desserts. And from desserts, some of the things that I like most is flan.
I think a good meal starts with antipasto. That is before the pasto.
You know what's funny? My favorite food's rice. And I'm cooking it.
As a kid, and my mom would have, soup, and then some type of soup. We always had soup, and then rice.
In Italy, the produce is very abundant. So we tend to keep our dishes simple, make it very simple as you can get, obtaining the freshest ingredient you can find.
There are a lot of misconceptions about organic food. The growing process is different, the way the soils are amended, the way compost is used and built into the soil, the way certain minerals are built back into the soil, so that those soils can provide higher levels of nutritional profile in the foods that are grown in those soils. So it takes more time and more effort, but one of my sayings is, pay now or pay later. You have to invest in your health. Probably because I have had the most experience, certainly, than my 17-year-old daughter and my 14-year-old son. I would have to say that I'm certainly the best cook in the family.
I have to admit, my husband, he's really awesome. He, growing up, I did not cook much, so I think that it's one thing. And so I learned, and when I usually cook something, I use a recipe, and I love cooking. But he really is very good.
My father is a really good cook, and my mother also. And I also have my brother-in-law, my sister's husband. He's also a really good cook. And so sometimes when I go back there, I go visit, we do competitions. Whoever cooks the best meal. And it seems that he always wins.
That would be up for debate, because my dad would say he is, and my mom would say she is. But I think if you take a consensus with the family, you'd say my mom. There is this soup that my mom makes. There's no way I can ever try to attempt it. That has contains that actually they make it into a little ball, and then they put cheese inside, and then you put it in the soup, and then you put a whole bunch of other stuff in it. So it's difficult finding the right plantain to be able to do that. And being from Ecuador, there's an array of different types of bananas. You can things that you can even imagine. That's in terms of color, and that okay, this is for that, this is for something else. So that type of stuff is different. The fruits, there's a lot of fruits in Ecuador that are only there. You can't find anything here.
Ajiaco. This is a soup that is usually served in this, which is a clay, and it has different kinds of potatoes. It has corn, chicken, and usually some herbs that we get in Colombia, we don't get here, some spices. And then you serve with fresh avocado, with capers, and with cream on top.
During the school week, I prepare breakfast in the morning, and then often Elena and Carey, my children, are walking out the door with food in hand. It's always good whole food, but sometimes it's on the run, so that's a little challenging. And then when they're gone during the day, we don't, of course, eat together. but we always eat dinner together as long as everyone's home.
Usually dinner, because in the morning, as you know, we leave here very early, and you know, my daughter Laura, it's not an early morning person, so we would have to get up way early if we went together. So on lunch, usually we are all different places. So usually dinner, that's what we do.
Times change, and we used to. Definitely, we always eat dinner together if we could. When I was a kid in Ecuador, definitely that's something we did. Here, my parents worked, you know, till 10 o'clock at night. So what they would do is they have the food. They would make the food in the morning, or my mom would make it the night before. So when we came from school, then we'd eat and do our homework and stuff. So, and same thing with us. We used to sit down, but now it's so, you know, hectic schedules and everything else. It's kind of difficult to be able to do that. Typically, it's usually just one person.
Okay, but when it becomes like big family things like Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas, it's all the women.
Yeah, it's true. You know, if my nephew was here, he pretty much dominates the conversation. He loves to talk and he loves to listen to himself. And so he, you know, you can hear him. You know, wherever you're at, okay, there's Miles, he's talking. And so even if he's not, you know, it really varies from what's going on with politics here, politics back home, or, you know, what's happening with the family, with school, with different sports activities that's going on.
So we would gather around the table, you know, and talk about soccer. Either soccer is a very popular item, or politics. One of the two discussion, one of the two items on the agenda. Always sport, because they, the soccer season, you know, they play actually every day, but especially on Sunday they have games, and you know, that used to be one of the main discussion around the dinner table.
Sometimes we have a book that we read a chapter or two of every night, something that we're, you know, that is something we want to learn about, or something going on culturally in the world. So we'll often choose a book that I'll read out loud, or one of us will read out loud. Once we've finished our meal, we'll sit together for a little longer and we'll read. There are times where it gets a little crazy because you know, we banter and we bicker and we tease each other, and you know, so, but it's always good. It's always a special time.
In Italy, I guess, well, that's, always people are really, you know, they really take care of themselves, and one way, you know, they express that is with food. They're more relaxed, you know, more appreciative of life itself, I would say. And that is an expression in the food, you know, in the way that they live every day. And some of the families, not almost all of them, Italian people, some of the Italian families, they're like a very family-oriented people. There are more gatherings, you know, more celebrations, and more happiness, I would say. You know, they're just happy people.